come to order. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Tabergi?
Present.
Mr. Brickweg?
Here.
Ms. Hausfeld? Here. Mr. Bob Culbertson?
Here.
Ms. Bettinghouse?
Here.
Mr. Ray Culbertson?
Here.
And Mr. Schildmeyer.
Present.
Let the record show that all 7 members are present. Members of the council, what is your pleasure on approving the written minutes of the July 28th council meeting?
Mr. President,
Ms. Bettinghouse?
make a motion to approve the written minutes of the council meeting.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
A motion by Ms. Bettinghouse, seconded by Ms. Hausfeld to approve the written minutes of the July 28th council meeting. Are there any remarks? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. The one thing that's not on your agenda, but we were given a ordinance 24 from Heidi, which is a codified ordinance update that she has asked us to place on the table. So if I
Mr.
could-
President,
Mr. Taberki?
make a motion for ordinance 24, 2022 on the table, next council meeting.
A motion by Mr. Taberki, seconded by Mr. Ray Culbertson to place ordinance 24, 2022 on the table. Are there any remarks? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. We'll move to reports of reports of administrative officials. Mayor, Mr. Stoops.
Thank you, Mr. President. This past weekend, our village hosted the St. Bernard German Luau for the 3rd time since its revival in 2019. By all measures, it was a resounding success, and we enjoyed by St. Bernard citizens and visitors alike. Our service department once again did an outstanding job setting up and tearing down for the event, even when weather conditions weren't in our favor. The police and fire departments were there all weekend to ensure our safety, and I'd like to thank them all for their efforts. We had a record support for our local nonprofits, and in turn, we will be able to provide more financial support back to them. Our local businesses also stepped up once again with incredible sponsorship. While we know more about this, we will know more about the specific financial results, hopefully by the next council meeting. We know now that the village had a weekend to be proud of. The luau was highlighted on television and in print, bringing new faces and good publicity to our village. I don't know if you saw Marge and I, actually, so on the news. That was kind of fun. I really appreciate her history and her efforts as well. I'm thankful for all the volunteers and the nonprofit groups that gave their time and efforts this last weekend and over the last year to make this event a success. I look forward to the event next year, and we will make it bigger and better. Also, good news, if you heard this evening, call command is working again. I thought I'd randomly try it just so we could see if we could get the word out again about this weekend's events at the pool. But we are still actively looking for another option that has text capability as well. We have 0 support. We have no one to call, and previously when it stopped working, it was just a phone number to nowhere. So we are looking at other options, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Auditor, Ms. Brickweg.
Thank you, Mr. President. First on my agenda is I received notification that Hamilton County will be voting on our 2023 budget at their September meeting. So I'm hoping I'll get it in time, and I'll prepare a resolution for the council meeting for you to approve the rates that they provide us. Second is I need an appropriation ordinance. The first thing I need to transfer $80,000 from the general fund to the swimming pool fund. We have not done that yet this year. And then I was reviewing some line items, and the first one, 2-016, our fuel. Needless to say, we didn't budget for the huge hike in gas prices. So I'm guessing, and this might be, I'm hoping on the high side, an additional $40,000 to get us through the end of the year for fuel and oil. And then Tommy's going to discuss an additional appropriation to the computers under his. So if you want to wait to approve the ordinance after his report, that's fine. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Law Director, Ms. Van Valkenburg.
Thank you. I'm in the process of preparing a resolution to bring us in to and set up a mechanism whereby members of the public can sign up for advance notice of meetings as required by RC 121.22F. We already do give notice. We give notice here at our meetings. It's on our website. But the state wants us to have another mechanism as well, so I'll be bringing that in to you, and I'd like to put that on the table. I'm still discussing with the mayor, and we need to check with Heidi what we think will be the best and easiest for her to handle this new duty. And that will probably be, I'm not sure what resolution number we're at, but I'll probably be preparing it and bringing it as a resolution. And I would like to go into executive session as well at the end of this meeting to discuss pending litigation. Thank you.
Mr. President, make a motion to put the resolution on the table for the notification.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
Motion by Mr. Berkey, second by Ms. Housefeld, to place the resolution on the table to announce our meetings. Remarks? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
President,
Mr. Berkey?
make a motion to go into executive session at the end of the meeting for pending litigation.
Motion by Mr. Berkey, second by Ms. Bettinghouse, to go into executive session at the end of this meeting to discuss pending litigation. Clerk, will you please call the roll? I don't know if I had that on. Clerk, will you please call the roll on the motion for executive session?
Mr. Terbergi?
Aye.
Mr. Brickwig?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Bob Culbertson?
Aye.
Ms. Bettinghouse?
Aye.
Mr. Ray Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Schildmeyer.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays. Council will go into executive session to discuss pending litigation at the end of this meeting. That's it then? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That concludes my report.
Treasurer, Mr. Ungrue.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening, I received the first state bank statement. Our total there at the end of July was $5,667.66. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Safety and Service Director, Mr. Paul.
Thank you, Mr. President. As Peggy mentioned, the computer line item 2K7 will need an appropriation of $20,000. Now, we just put in, we already had an appropriation this year. That was for City Hall. At the time, I had no idea that the Safety Center also has to have the exact same thing, which was $7,500 for a new server. They're running 8, and they have to be brought up to 12, or Microsoft just won't cover us. The other is their service contract is due. That was $8,298, and then there's a battery backup that we needed because it didn't keep up. It kept going in and out. So that basically comes about $18,000. So with $20,000 in there, I should be okay. That's line item is 2K7. The fence at the pool, the bid came in at $14,416. That's 29 sections of black powdered aluminum and 1 gate. So we looked up what the price of our price would be if we bought it outright, and they were about $200 a section. So that's probably pretty close on target with the labor and everything. And that will probably come with being aluminum, a lifetime warranty. So I think you may want to do that. And that will go into 208S.
Mr. President,
Household.
how much was the dollar amount again?
$14,416.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Taberky.
Tommy, where's this fence going?
If you look inside the pool, there's a little black 3-foot fence, 4-foot fence that goes, I didn't know either, that goes all the way around where the kiddie pool was, and then it goes around the slide and the concession stand. So with that, it was vinyl coated. So you can't really tell it until you walk up on it. So if I'm looking out by the fence, you can't see it. If you get there, it's like, oh my God. And I ask about painting, he goes, you'll do all that prep work, which is expensive, you'll paint it in 2 years, you'll be right back here where we are. And I said, well then give me a bid for replacement. So that's what he did.
Mr. President,
Mr. Taberky.
haven't been to the pool in ages, but do we need a fence around, since the baby pool's not there anymore, do we need a fence back there still?
Yes, due to the fact that it now has become a rented space for you to grill and have parties while you're at the pool for certain families. It's actually a pretty nice looking.
Mr. President. Mr. President,
Ms. Household.
I agree that from what I understood, and I don't know if it's 100% for sure yet or not, you guys might know, we're supposed to be also having the swim national something next year. Did I say that right?
Mr. President,
Mayor.
that is correct. And so the issue right now currently with the fence is not a structural issue. It's more of a cosmetic problem, but it looks horrendous, and there's that much coming off. And these large sections of the coating, flaking off and still loose in the pool area. I still think it's important to have a functional fence. Again, we can have, kids events and have and also around the snack area and the slide. It is necessary, but I would rather look at this now, as Mr. Paul has already taken the lead to get the estimates, because if we can be that far ahead before next year, the magnitude of this event is huge, and we can't. And we've already asked more than once. They actually did postpone it for St. Bernard because of the school construction, but they can't put it off any longer. So we really need to get this done, ASAP. So I think that will be a huge help in the appearance of the pool itself, and of course, just adding that to the list of some of the things we want to do to improve. But that is something that I think needs to be done soon. We've already got the slide was fixed, looks good, working. I think it was a heck of a deal rather than replacing it. So we're getting there, but I'd like to ask again, hopefully, that we go ahead and get that done.
Mr. President,
Mr. Taberky.
make a motion, put the orders on the table for Peggy's additional and transfers and Tommy's additional monies.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
Motion by Mr. Taberky, seconded by Ms. Hausfeld to place the additional appropriation ordinance on the table. Are there any remarks? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Thank you, Mr. President. That
That's it.
concludes my report.
Thank you. Tax Administrator, Ms. Helms.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have the Tax Department's July 2022 report for its receipts. Tax collections for July were $710,855. July of 2022 is down 70.5% from July of 2021. Tax refunds for July were $8,626. Delinquent tax collected with capital recovery was $854. Delinquent tax collected through the Ohio Attorney General's office was $9,829. Taxes paid through the e-file portal were $203.27. Just to make note, there was a shift in how payments came in this year. A payment came in June instead of the usual month of July. Had that payment been submitted in its usual month of July, the monthly percentages would have read June was up 34% and July was down only 24.96%. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Move to reports of standing committees. Finance, Mr. Taberky.
No report.
Thank you. Safety, Mr. Brickwig.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to report that the police are currently interviewing for new candidates, that the interviews are proceeding on as scheduled. I would also like to thank all the departments for this past weekend with the German luau. I think everybody did a great job. There was great attendance by all departments, and especially the service department for the setup and the breakdown, and plus all the volunteers who made the event possible. Lots and lots of volunteers. I just want to say thank you to all of them. Also, I'd just like to ask, Mayor Stuchel brought up about the call command. Who would the public get a hold of to get their name on that list? Would that be Heidi?
Yes, that would, Mr. President, sorry. That would be Heidi. There, and again, one of the issues was actually how this came about was also adding individuals to the list. So anyone that is interested, yes, call Heidi. I cannot guarantee 100% that we can have the success of adding individuals right this moment. If, again, the stability of the system is not 100%, and we have zero customer support. So that's the problem with this. Okay. So, I mean, we definitely need to switch over. The goal would be is if we can get a hold of an individual that could ever assist us, the goal would be to try to save, the data that we've already entered. So, but part of the problem is too, it's hard to differentiate as far as whether, individuals are still using it as an active phone number. So we may have to start from scratch, or at least with that option, but have them call Heidi, she can at least make an attempt, but we want to look for a better option still.
Sounds good.
Because this is so dated.
Sounds good, and I'm glad we're moving forward with that, because that's how we get, like you say, the information out, and I just wanted to let the public, who's ever watching or gets this information, to know that we are proceeding with this and that Heidi's the contact. Thank you very much. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Service, Ms. Housefeld.
No report, Mr. President, but I did also want to thank everybody that had a hand in this past weekend. It was a great success, and I was actually at work today out in Blue Ash, and some of my swim kids and their parents actually commented about what a nice time they had down here at the luau. So the word is getting out there, and there are other people besides just St. Bernard residents that totally enjoyed themselves this past weekend. So thank you.
Thank you. Public improvements, Mr. Bob Culbertson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just the next CIC meeting is August 23rd at 6 p.m. in council chambers. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Laws, contracts, and claims, Ms. Bettinghouse.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Marketing, Mr. Ray Culbertson.
Thanks, Mr. President. Another reminder that the Family Night at the Aquatic Center will take place this Saturday from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. There will be games, prizes, contests, free snacks, and hot dogs while they last, and all this going on while DJ Wild Bill is playing the tunes. The event is free to season pass holders and $5 for families without a pass. Along the same lines, mark your calendars for the Adult Night at the Aquatic Center, which will take place on Saturday, August 27th from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Like everyone else, I'd like to send out a special thanks to Mayor Stuchel, Darcy Stuchel, Chris Sauer, Keith Geraci, Mandy Geraci, Mindy Miller, Peggy Brickway, Layla Kiner, Paul Schultmeyer, the Iceman Kevin Stratman, along with our 3 departments, the police, fire, and service, who all are instrumental in making last weekend a huge success. I can't say thank you enough to all the effort you guys put into it. And finally, I'd like to congratulate Peggy and Kurt on the newest pickle addition to their family. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Business and industry, Mr. Schultmeyer.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council this evening? If not, council will go into executive session to discuss pending litigation and be back shortly, hopefully.